but there are probably a few new ones, such as microconversion or brand support or digital sales. They might be terms you're familiar with, but have not found ways to have success with them yet. The goal today in this short presentation is to make sure that you understand some of the functionality that's available out there for you so that you can have some of that success, or at least understand what you're impacting when you do certain things in digital marketing. So let's talk about digital marketing. This is a subway map. No, this is actually digital marketing map, and it's terrifying. I've been doing this for, like I said, about 20 years now, and I do not understand everything that this thing says. It is immense, and it grows constantly. What you're trying to do is figure out which of these avenues makes you the most successful. There are a ton of digital tools, and that's where people get lost, confused, and scared of marketing. I don't think you have to be, but I think Gartner does a good job right here of making everybody afraid of it. Why is marketing costly? Why is it hard to deal with? There's a lot of reasons. Competition. Digital ads will lead the way for global media growth for the next 4 years. In 2014, the estimated spend went from 133 billion to almost 200 billion just in digital marketing. That is enormous growth. It is a mature marketplace. Google and Bing have set up these great, easy-to-use solutions for you to go through and add a bunch of stuff, and add some cash, and get things rolling. Everybody can do that. It floods the marketplace with inexperience, with people who don't execute properly, with people bidding against you for market share when they're really just causing disruption. There's also the ready, fire, aim effect. Typically, small businesses do not understand what they're trying to accomplish when they go into digital marketing. You need to draw a dotted line, and that's something we'll help you do. So, how do we set up a plan to win? We set up a smart, budget-friendly plan. It always has to have some sort of plan attached to it. What are you trying to accomplish? Where are you going? Why are you doing what you're doing? I'm sure your business has a plan. Your digital or marketing approach needs a plan. It needs to be trackable with great metrics, which are very easy to get online. You have Google Analytics. Any publisher you use, any network you use will provide a ton of information for you to look at. But the bottom line is that has to equate to some sort of ROI, some sort of return for your business. So, how do we get started? A couple simple things that we'll look at today are just traditional advertising avenues, social media display networks, how they impact your business, and how we can use them to successfully market. So the first thing we have to do is set up expectation and goals. You need to define what you're trying to accomplish. How does your current sales process work? I think that's a very critical question. When we deal with organizations, it's something we do every day. We ask them, how's your existing sales process work? Maybe we should mirror it. Shouldn't you have a digital funnel? Shouldn't your online sales process have the same metrics to obtain in order to be successful? What's your ROI target? If you invest $10,000, how much do you want to see? If you invest $500, how much do you want to see? Is it obtainable and realistic? We have brands all the time that will tell us, we want to spend this in digital marketing, and in 3 months, we want to obtain this sales goal. And we'll say, that's fantastic. What's your sales cycle look like? 6 months long. How are we going to half your sales cycle digitally? You have to make sure that you're setting up the right obtainable goals and that they're realistic. Do they buy online? If they do, if those clients do buy online, are you configured for it? And is your site configured properly as it is? Do you have buttons on it so that people get information? Is there good content on it? Is it very easily navigational? Those are very important things. Those buttons, those call to action buttons, will not yield immediate results. If you put a call to action button up there that says request more information or contact us, a lot of times people won't do it. But if you capture the right information, it'll allow you to engage with them over and over again, which is very critical. Capture, when we talk about micro conversions, when you have these call to action buttons on your site, capture email addresses. Email is fantastic. I don't care what anybody tells you. Actually, mobile is driving people back to email, because what do people do when they're bored in line at Starbucks? They check their email, something they would have never done when they got back to the office, but they're on it then. Have a conversation with them. Capture email addresses. Provide white papers. Allow your organization, your people, to provide information on the success you have, and give it to those people that ask for information from you. And drive them to a blog. Everybody should have a blog. I know it's time consuming. I know it's just another thing to do on a daily basis. Find someone internally and ask them to write. Check their work, make sure it's relevant to your industry, and post it. Who, what, and when. So once you've defined ROI, once you've figured out what you're going to do, you got to figure out who you're going to talk to and why and when. You need to identify your target audience. You could say my audience is this niche right here. If that niche is everybody who buys all 50 products you sell, it's not a niche. You're going to be competing against a ton of people out there. Figure out where you want to start. Where do you make the most money? Or where do sales move the quickest? Start there. Start to dip your toes in the water there. Existing clients. When you start advertising, your existing clients are probably going to see your ads, especially if you retarget them. And we'll talk about retargeting in a second. But once someone clicks on your site and you retarget them, you're going to pull them, push ads to them over USA Today, over any web property they are on. They'll see your advertisement now. If you're not putting retention or referral solutions on your site, even content to talk about why your customers love you, or refer somebody today. We'd really appreciate it. We do business with people who love us, and we'll do business with you. Those things are very good to do, but you need to have that available. I think a good thing to do also is look at your competition. How are they doing it? How are the big boys doing it? I think you should mirror and flatter as many people as you can. Because I tell you what, the big boys are doing it that way for a reason, and it's working. And they constantly A/B test and change and tweak everything. They know what's successful, or they have a good pulse on it. The attribution piece, you need to define your metrics based on your audience. So you need to go back through and say, okay, I figured out who I want to advertise or what I want to advertise. I know what my ROI or what my target ROI is, but now I have an audience I'm going to talk to. And really, how are they going to react to this messaging? And then you need to readjust your ROI based on those existing audiences, and then look at some lookalike modeling to say, okay, if somebody looks like this ABC company on the left, and I'm targeting all of them that look like that, what are other companies look like that are really close, or other decision makers that are really close? And can I flip the switch inside of Facebook to target them also to see how that performs? So getting down into some of the cost-effective marketing solutions that are out there. Our favorite and the most recognized today, since it's been turned on a couple years ago, is Facebook. We actually had the honor of being selected for Facebook beta. We were one of the companies that ran the first week's ads against Facebook Exchange. We have seen a ton of success. Facebook allows you to really drill down into some great demographic information. They see how people talk, what they talk about, who their friends are, what companies they follow, how they interact with those companies, how often. Those things allow them to really create a great demographic model for you to use. And honestly, we see average click-through rates of 0.25%. So your click-through, when somebody clicks on an ad on the right-hand side of the page in Facebook, is a lot higher than traditional display. And if you look down to the next one, traditional display click-through rate of 0.02%. Huge numbers. We've seen clients get as high as 0.5%, 0.5% of click-through rate. If it's targeted properly to the right audience that's engaged in talking, it works. When you buy ads on social media, there's a couple different ways to buy ads. You can cost per click model, which says, I'm not going to spend until somebody clicks on my ad, which is a good model unless you target the wrong audience, and then you're spending a lot of money for people to click on your ad who probably shouldn't be in there. There also is cost per 1,000, and the cost per 1,000 rate that we normally push for our clients because it supports brand at the same time is about $5 on Facebook. It can get higher, it can get lower. But for 1,000 ads, it's pennies on a dollar to get those ads in front of people. The same works with traditional marketing, traditional display ad networks. Contextually targeted ads, which means that you're looking for a site that the audience that you're trying to target would most likely visit, and placing ads on there. And these publisher networks, display ad companies, DoubleClick, any of those will allow you to drill down into that by choosing categories. And what you'll see is that the cost is higher because you're kind of being a little more picky about where you're putting ads. But at the same time, we have seen that display ads drive about a 20% organic search success rate. Only about 8% of people, and it's about the same 8% of people, will click on a banner ad. So you have 92% of people who will never, ever, ever click on a banner ad. If they don't click on a banner ad, what they see is brand support. They see relevant information. They see something that might interest them. At a later date or at that time, they'll Google you. And that's very supportive. Google sees the content in the ad. They read every piece of content online. They read your site. They know the links. And they say, okay, is this relevant? And should we push this information? How does it support direct or organic results? And it's very supportive. It's a very good investment. Email marketing. Like I mentioned before, I think email is very successful. It has a 2 times higher ROI than cold calling, network, or trade shows. It's something that you need to engage in. It could be completely free. Just writing content, writing a personalized note to somebody who clicked on your site means more to most people than getting some canned e-blast. Once you got to that point, you need to create your ad. You need to create the content or the place it's going to land to, and it needs to be in your voice. You're in business for a reason. You've created success or driving success in your organization, selling to people because of you. You need to, in your ad, in your content, state your features and benefits. Talk about why you're successful. Put your pitch in there. Make sure you drive that sales funnel inside the digital environment also. Your brand needs to be consistent. We see this all the time where people use one brand stamp or one voice in one ad, and then the very next ad or 3 later, it's a different brand stamp and a different voice, and it just doesn't work. Is the brand stamp on the display ad the same as the one on the site? The last thing you want to have is someone click on a banner ad, get to a site, and see something that looks completely different and flee. They will, because they don't understand or trust the content or the information they're being provided. I don't think that we've ever pushed very many cute advertising schemes. It does work being silly or cute. I think we've all been sold the viral approach in the past, or we all want to have some sort of viral element to our approach. I think that if you're straight and you talk to your clients the way you do on a daily basis, you provide really great thought leadership, really great content, I think they'll be really appreciative. I don't think you really have to get cute, unless it's your business, of course. If your business is driving a joke factory, then be cute. Short and relevant. Nobody wants to read a ton of content, and what we call it is web-ready content. We have clients all day who hand us content and say, this is the landing page we want you to create, or here's the content we want to put on the site based on our advertising campaign going. And it is a ton of content. They'll never read it. We have about 6 seconds on average to capture someone's attention on a web page. If you don't have big, great words, relevant information, they're not going to read the headlines, the meta, or anything. They're not going to care about the main content. Once you have them and you start to drill down, once you have their interest, then you can provide more content, but not up front. I'd say short and very relevant. Once you turn it on, once you flip the switch for Facebook or a display network, you need to ask some of these companies to place a cookie. And what that is it's a tracking tag. It's completely legal. There's nothing wrong with doing it. Everybody does it. Actually, probably every website you hit probably drops around 50 tracking tags on average. But what this tracking tag allows you to do is use that retargeting functionality I mentioned in the past. You can go back to that publisher and say, look, I'm going to spend $100 a week on targeting. I want to spend $50 a week on making sure that the people who actually clicked on the banner ad and landed on my web page see my ad again. And it's a great solution. We see huge success when it comes to retargeting. We have clients that have never converted on the first click. We have a client that spends a good amount of money, and every click they get, it takes 3 to 4 retargeting efforts to get them to sell anything to that client. They have to re-engage the person that's looking at their site. Once you click it, turn it on, you need to monitor your analytics. If it's Google Analytics, is it the report that the provider is sending you? You need to look at that stuff and really start to drill down. Just look at the numbers. Spend 5 minutes. Are they engaging with the ad? If they're not engaging with the ad at all and you're below industry standards, then change the ad. It's that easy. It's not a ton of work. Maybe the content's wrong. Maybe the color's wrong. Maybe the image isn't relevant. Change the ad. Look at where they're engaging and dropping off. That's very important. If people are engaging consistently for the first 3 pages, but never on the 4th page request information, move the button. Move the button forward 2 pages or 1 page. Get them while they're engaged before they bounce off the site. Is there a problem with your user experience? And what that means is that the ability for people to use your site and to be comfortable with it. Do you have funky navigation? Is there too much content? Are the buttons in relevant places? Does it scroll properly? Does the cart work, right? If they get to the cart and you sell stuff online and they do not finish the sales process, then you probably have a problem with your cart. If you're providing a white paper and somebody clicks to get the white paper and it doesn't load properly, you have a problem with your user experience that needs to be fixed. You always need to adjust and refine as you move forward, and you need to provide what's promised. If you're going to provide white papers, provide white papers. Provide great content. Work through it. Spend a little bit of time. If you have a long sales process, you're in the service industry, you need to have thought leadership. You need to push people through your funnel process that way. Provide white papers that are relevant, smart, and what you guys do great. It doesn't hurt to touch on trends. If you're going to provide white papers or blogs, typically we say shuffle in one industry trend, your success, maybe even a testimonial, and kind of rotate through those. Follow-up. So here it comes back to retargeting. New web visitors who have been retargeted with display ads are 70% more likely to convert. And that goes back to what I talked about in the past with the company that we saw never converted on a first click. Retargeting customers are 4 times more likely to convert than new customers. We see a click-through rate on retargeting ads at 0.4 to 0.6%. It's just a great way to re-engage or to get things going. Make the call. You have to make phone calls after people click on your site. If they provide a phone number, call them. If you target them with email, call them. I really believe that, you know, a lot of people get away from traditional sales if they start to run digital, and it just doesn't work. People like to deal with people. Organizations like to deal with organizations that they feel they can trust. And a website really has trouble conveying a ton of trust when it comes to buying. You can look at Amazon. They've invested billions of dollars to try to get people to trust the buying process. eBay also, right? If you follow up with a web lead within 5 minutes, you're 9 times more likely to convert them, according to InsideSales.com. I mean, that just says everything that you could possibly think. 80% of sales require 5 follow-up calls. 44% of salespeople give up after the first call. So if you make a couple phone calls, 3, 4, 5, you've got a lot better chance than the other people that might have engaged with that same business. Once it's all said and done, you need to evaluate. Did it work? You need to understand your cost. Did it spend properly? You can tell an ad network or Facebook to spend X, but if your target audience is low, you might not have spent all your money. A lot of people don't understand it until it's over. You need to constantly look at that, tweak it, or if your audience is too big and you're only targeting a very small slice of it, you need to get more defined so that your spend is more justified for what you're trying to accomplish. Don't forget about the time and effort. When you have ROI, you're going to equate the content writing internally, your white papers, building the display ads as lost costs. Those things have to be part of your cost to do the campaign, even if it's internal investment. Because at the end of the day, at the end of your campaign, you're going to want to create an ROI calculator to say, if I spend X in digital marketing, I create this return for my business. Does it make sense? And if you didn't properly record hours invested in content writing or fixing the site or building ads or buying images, then you're really not going to understand the total ROI or impact of that. And if you decide to scale it and you don't understand those things, you can end up costing your business a lot in the long term. You might not have enough time to support it. You might not have enough internal resources to support it. Those things need to be discovered after you run your beta campaign. Measure the ROI. Make sure that when you look at the ROI, it makes sense to you and that it's relevant. Provide ongoing thought leadership. If your approach is you have a long sales funnel process, please, please, please provide more information to them. Without it, you've done a great job acquiring, and they're gone forever. And then, as I said before, the object is to rinse and repeat, figure out what you want to spend next time, and go about doing it. The other thing outside of ad networks that really can have a great impact on a business, of course, is social media, is engaging with people online. And social is super time consuming. I know I have kids, they're great at social media. I mean, they rock it out all day. They're on there, they're talking to people, Instagram, texting, WhatsApp, all these different messaging apps, and they're just hitting people and having a great old time. I have no idea what's going on when they're doing that. What I know is that on a B2B model or a B2C model, you have to engage differently with people online than that approach. And it doesn't mean that you have to be online, on social all the time. There are certain habits that will actually help you drive success in social and actually become fun or engaging or allow you to tout or talk to certain groups or organizations. I think the first thing is start to follow some of the companies that you want to engage with, you want to sell to, or some of the influencers that you need to use in order to get to certain decision makers. They will look. A lot of times we look when we engage the client, are they following us? Are they following us on LinkedIn? Have they hit our site on LinkedIn? What did they ask for? What have they done online with us? Those are things that are pretty important. A great way to engage a social company up front is to ask about them. We see that we have the best success when we manage social media for organizations by talking to them about their products, talking to them about their success, having great conversation. They love to talk about, just like you do, their passion and their products. and they're there for a reason to talk about it socially, engaging with them at that level will drive to them starting to talk to you about your product. Keep your posts friendly, light. Driving sales socially, it's very difficult. It scares a lot of people away. I would keep your posts friendly and light and just engaging. Be intelligent. Be smart about your approach. People do not like reading stats or statistics or information that they already know. It's one of those, I already know that, that's really irrelevant, and it really pushes them off of your social site quickly. Support their goals, and they will support yours. If their goal is to reach 1,000 new followers in a month, and you post constantly for them to support them, when you go to obtain the same goal, and you won't even have to ask them. They will immediately post for you saying, help ABC company hit 1,000 followers with us. It's a community, and it does not represent a community unless you're engaged in having conversation. And then pay it forward every time. If somebody does something great, give them kudos. If they have a successful win, tell them great job. Once again, once they see that you're talking about them and you're supportive to them and their needs, they will be supportive to you. There's all these influencers in social media, all these organizations that blog companies or blog just individual bloggers that drive a lot of attention, that have a lot of success. Once you've had these conversations, once you start to engage with them, once you see that they see that you're supporting them and you're actually active in social media, ask them for their help. A lot of influencers, there's a couple things they'll do. They'll either say yes, great, or I really don't roll like that. It's going to take a little bit more time, which is okay because you're not going anywhere fast. Or they'll say, hey, look, I have a model where it's an affiliate network, and I will definitely talk about it. What can you do for me today? And that's what a lot of bloggers are about. And you could say, hey, look, I'll ship you some free product, and you talk about it. If I send you X number of visitors in the next month, can we kind of do something that way? I'll try to push you for a little while. They're going to be open because that is their business. Once you have the audience, you will need to interact with them on a regular basis. So once you start talking to other companies, once you start getting followers, once people start engaging with your site, you have to post. You have to schedule or tweet or add images to Pinterest or Instagram. How often? There are a lot of solutions out there where you can look up your industry, what tools, what outlets are the best to engage with, how to build posts, time of day, proper use of images. Those tools there's 1,000 of them out there, and it's really in black and white. Here's exactly LinkedIn, the time of day that most people engage with a post. Boom. Post during 1 to 3, Monday and Thursday, and live by it. There's solutions out there like Hootsuite, which will allow you to schedule posts and tweets and all those good things so that you don't have to do it. At the beginning of the week or the end of the week before, you sit down for an hour, you build your posts, your tweets, you enter them into Hootsuite, and you know they're going to roll out at 1 and 3 on Monday, 1 and 3 on Thursday. Your Facebook stuff's going to go out Tuesday morning. You've got a plan. It's very simple to do. The key is to find what works best for your business. All these tools, all these organizations can tell you everything under the sun, but the fact is that if your clients aren't engaging at that time, or your prospective clients, change it, test it, see what works for you. So I hope that helped. The goal, of course, a smart budget, friendly plan, trackable metrics that yield ROI, and that'll help you get past the digital quagmire. I guess Angela's going to hand it over for QA.
Yes, thank you. The first question is, what's the best way to target business owners through social media, especially Facebook and Twitter?
Yeah, that's a great question. Actually, we run, you can do lookalike campaigns against business owners in Facebook. We've done it before. for events for an organization we work with, and it's very successful. So they actually have that demographic directly inside of Facebook to target them. If you're going to use Twitter the same way, you can also target people via email addresses or cell phone numbers. Facebook and Twitter both allow you to do that also because they do capture it because of mobile use. So if you have a list of business owners that you want to target, you can actually provide that to them and do direct one-on-one relationship targeting.
Okay, the next question is it common for small businesses to use digital marketing, or are small business owners still focusing on more traditional methods?
Yeah, I think that traditional marketing, when it comes to print and some of the solutions like that, they're very costly. I think there are a lot of businesses trying to figure out how to do digital properly. We do see a mix of both, of course. I can tell you that it just depends on your business and what you want to accomplish. I would, if you think that digital is right for you, drive it. If you don't think, don't. But I would definitely test what you can.
And we have one more question. How does design work for Facebook ads? Do they have templates for small business, or do you have to always design your own?
We always design our own. I don't know. I think there are solutions on Facebook to use. At least there were in the past where they allowed you even to template your Facebook page. Since we are a design house, we don't do any of that. So I'm not 100% familiar with it. I can tell you that once you've designed an ad, when you import it into Facebook, there are tools immediately that let you know if it passes their criteria or not. Only 20% of the ad can be content. They want to stop people from just throwing up a bunch of content in an ad. It needs to be mostly image. And that's because images are very successful on Facebook. So they want to show high click-through rates and great revenue generation on Wall Street. And the way they do that is by making sure they limit your ability to do things that are bad practice inside of their Facebook advertising network.
Okay, and somebody sent in more of a comment, but as a resource, Canva is a great free tool to make ads for newbies.
There you go.
And we actually just had one more submitted. We're a small company with an active staff of 1. Though the outside world's perception is a much larger company, as we have 5 email addresses we manage. What social media source is best to maximize reach of potential customers? Currently, we have over 1,600 friends on Facebook. However, we don't have the staff to manage multiple social media outlets.
Yeah, I really think that it's dependent upon your product and your industry. If it's a B2B sales environment and it's a long sales process, thought leadership, and LinkedIn, probably your best bet. I think if you were to choose one, if I was told I could only choose one because of time, and I know time is a huge resource for small businesses, very small resource, I would say that mine would probably go into Facebook. I think you can touch on all the above, and if you have 1,500 followers already, I would make sure that you just continually grow that and talk to them, and it sounds like the audience is already there.
And it sounds like what you had mentioned, Hootsuite, might be a good option for somebody.
Absolutely. It'll allow you to take your Facebook posts and integrate them into Google+. Google+ is great for SEO purposes. It'll allow you to push them to Twitter, to LinkedIn, and to Facebook, so you're not monkeying around building posts or posting to each one.
Okay, well, that concludes our presentation for today. Thank you, everybody, for attending. I will send out the presentation via email to everybody who attended today. If you have any additional questions, please email me, and I will forward them on to Corey, and you guys can continue the conversation. Thank you again, and have a great day.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.